Chapter 6 deals with the ethics of deceiving people about your identity in a professional context. The chapter talks about a girl named Jenny who was a part of a promotional campaign for a musical artist that she believed in. These issues arose when she was asked to pose as a 12-year-old girl and converse with fans to promote the artist and help hype up the album before its release. Jenny did not feel comfortable with this and brought up her ethical concerns. The company ultimately decided that she was right, and then they decided on a different course of action that allowed them to promote this artist without using deceit. Jenny used the Narvan model to help her decide on an ethical course of action. This included defining the problem in all aspects that are causing it, identifying available solutions or courses of actions, evaluating solutions, both the long-term and short-term, making the decision whether or not it was mutually beneficial or one-sided, implementing the decision, and then evaluating the decision. In Jalen Norwood's hypothetical, I was asked to imagine a scenario where I and a coworker worked at a local restaurant. This coworker revealed that they lied about some aspects of their personal information in order to get the job. The next day, I am approached by my boss and asked how everything's going. I'm asked to consider what I would do and if I would stick with my coworker or tell my boss. I first looked at this using Ross's prima facie and actual duties to decide on a course of action, as that is the ethical code I found that aligns closest with my own. Some of the prima facie duties I faced in this situation included keeping promises, as I assume I was told about their deception and confidence, practicing justice, making others' lives better, and avoiding harm. In this scenario, by keeping their secret, I would be keeping my promise of confidentiality and keeping them from getting fired, which would be avoiding harm and making their lives better. However, if I instead chose to tell my boss, I might be seeking justice, but I would also be putting their livelihood in danger and leaving them without a source of income, which could leave them without food, money, or housing for food, in exchange for just telling my boss about a scenario that he did not explicitly ask about. For me, this leaves the obvious choice of not bringing it up with my boss. My coworkers' continued ability to feed and house themselves is far more important than exposing them and seeking justice. However, if I use a Narvan model like Jenny did, I would still arrive at a similar conclusion. First, the problem is that now that I know my coworker lied to get this job, I feel like an accomplice. But I could either stick by my coworker and not bring this up with my boss, or I could come clean and tell my boss about their deception. If I tell my boss, I could get them fired, but if I did nothing would change about the situation. This person has already presumably been working with us for some time, and there have been no major issues that would cause our boss to look back at their hiring with any detail. So if I decide not to tell, and so my boss asks how everything is going, I say that things are fine and that everything is going as it should. Ultimately, I would have been causing more harm than good by telling on my coworker. Since this coworker has been working with us for presumably a little while, enough to trust me with their information about how they've deceived, if there was an issue with how they were performing, this would have come up sooner. But presumably, we're working at a restaurant. We're not doctors, so there is no reason for us to need to have prior experience and qualifications, other than maybe our employer would like to have better people. But if this person is working as they should and no issues have caused, I could only cause more harm by bringing the situation up. Nothing has changed in the time since I found out, other than the fact that I now know. My boss is not explicitly asking me about this person. They're just asking how things are going. I would be causing more issues and helping no one in this scenario by coming